Hi, David Gerard here. This is the Fort Gibson Reservoir Dam behind me, and I'm in the hills and countryside north of Fort Gibson, Oklahoma to visit a former fellow worker at the Muskogee Phoenix newspaper, Becky Lucht. Becky is an avid horsewoman and an artist. Her art reflects her equine interest. All right, Becky, when we worked at the newspaper, you were marketing.
Started out in the graphics department, just putting together ads, and then I became the manager of that, and then they added a lot of the public relations stuff to it.
But though you were in marketing, you had an art degree from...
Yeah, the University of Minnesota Mankato, that's what it's called now. And frankly, when I got out of school and, you know, I had a teaching job lined up, and it was right when my husband was about to get drafted, and it was like, I don't have any desire to work with children. What in the heck was I thinking? And so I got a job at the St. Paul newspaper, and that was where my newspaper career began.
And you went to a much bigger newspaper, the Muskogee Phoenix.
Well, that was after a series of moves. Always further south. We went to Omaha, and then Tulsa, and then Muskogee.
And then what mediums do you work in now?
I've pretty well done them all, but my current one is scratchboard. I took a little half-day workshop in it a couple years ago, and I was real intrigued by it. And this is a scratchboard. It's basically masonite, and it is coated with a white kaolin or Chinese clay, very smooth, and then they spray it with India ink. And so you use things like X-Acto knives, and I use a lot of steel wool, tattoo needles, anything sharp you have to make the effect.
And so the yellow that's on there, that's your outline that you've drawn on there.
Right. I'll take a photo or a drawing or whatever and transfer it on there. It's real sensitive. You can scratch it real easy, so you don't want to be messing around drawing too much. The less you handle it, the better. Once you get it all done, you come in a lot with inks and maybe do some thin washes over it, because like in the case of this horse's mane, it's kind of too late now, so I come back and put shadows in, and then usually end up scratching some more to keep that linear look and the authenticity. And so
what do you like about it? I mean, that you're so intrigued by it.
Stark and honest. You're not. Maybe it's simple. It doesn't have the color to stand on. You've got to do everything with the lines and shadows and values. So I find that intriguing.
And most of your art, what's your subject matter most of the time?
I've took an online marketing class recently, and for marketing your art, and one of the things that they said is you've got to define your niche. And my niche that I've defined, and because it's something I love, because I've been obsessed with horses my whole life, was to combine that. And I'm doing a lot of Western art, cowboys, horses, tack and saddles and things like that. I love the detail part of it. My grandmother, actually great, I believe. This is my grandmother and her sister, and they were my
Okay, this is the Armadillo Room.
This was named in honor of my husband, because back probably in the late 70s when we moved to Oklahoma, every now and then you'd see a dead armadillo alongside the highway, and he developed this theory that armadillos were actually extinct, but there was an underground group of armadillo people who were trying to keep the name alive, and they would have a limited number of bodies of armadillos, and they would move them around from highway to highway, just trying to give people the impression they were still viable. But as it turned out later on, they became more and more prolific, and he kind of had to give up his theory, but we didn't let him forget his theory, so we gave him, everybody in the family has given him an armadillo. We have